Welcome back. I want to talk to you about fears and worries. I've been dealing with a family member who is consumed by fear and worry, and I recognize that because I was too. So fears and worries are the things that keep us up at night. You know that 2 a.m. voice in your head that just keeps nattering at you? By the way, you should never trust anything from that voice. Nothing at 2 a.m. makes sense. Don't listen to it. Don't trust it because it's just talking gibberish. But during the day, fears and worries may also occupy your mind, may make you feel overwhelmed. That's the best case of anxiety, right? It's all the what ifs, fears and worries. And I equate these to thoughts that we use to distract ourselves from something else that we need to deal with. Now, that may not be the truth, but it is the truth for me, and it seems to have been the truth for many people that I've worked with. So you want to know, what is it that I'm not wanting to deal with, so I'm distracting myself with all these silly thoughts? And I'm not saying all worries and fears are silly, but mostly, right? Fear definitely keeps us out of trouble, keeps us on the know, recognizing when we're in danger. But honestly, most of the time, what we fear is not real, and it certainly isn't serving us well. Maybe you fear public speaking, and so you never do public speaking, but maybe you would be the best speaker in the world, or maybe you needed to do it for work, and because you didn't go to do the public whatever address, then you didn't promote in the job. I don't know. It's just like, is it real that you can't do public speaking? No, you have to practice, of course, and you have to work at it, but the fear isn't real. I had a fear of ziplining, and I went to a camp with, when I was an administrator. And of course, I can't be that person who is afraid, so I had to force myself to go do it. And one student wanted me to go with him because she was so afraid, so I had to. And you know what? I had a blast. Oh my gosh, it's the coolest feeling. But I was dying before because I was so consumed with fear. But knowing what I do, I decided, no, I can do this. We learned thinking habits like fear and worry when we were very young from those who influenced us. And I know mine came from my mother. My mother is very nervous. She worries a lot, and she's also fearful. And that passed on to me. And the other thing is she uses anger as a sense of power so she can get through things and get over the fears and worries. And I sort of understand that. But I didn't understand that I was doing the exact same thing. And that's what, when I realized that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's where I get that from. I don't want that. So I worked hard to get rid of it. I don't need to be fearful. I don't need to worry about every little detail. Let things progress as they will. So is this easy to do? No. It isn't. It takes consistent effort, because what you've done with your thinking pattern is you've created a neural pathway in your brain that is like a well-driven road, right? Have you ever seen those roads they're in the, not wilderness, but out in the country, and they are dirt roads, and they have been worn very, very well, and there's grass growing up in between the tire marks, but the rest of it, they're pretty well dug in. And if you've ever seen one after the rain and people have driven on it, it's got deep ruts. So that's kind of what I imagine the pathways in our brain to be, those ones that we've done with fear and worry. I also like to talk about them as if they're cat tracks. And I'm a skier, and if you are, you know what I'm talking about. But a cat track goes between the runs, the big major runs that are going down the hill. There's a sideways cat track that is put in so you could go from one side of the mountain to the other. And this cat track is very steep on one side going up and very steep on the other side going down. And you don't really get off the cat track. Once you get on it, it takes you exactly where you're going to go. Well, that's that thought process that you have, that thinking habit that you've developed for fears and worries. Once you get on it, you're not getting off of it. So best not to get on it. You could also think of it as a rabbit hole. You drop down the rabbit hole like Alice in Wonderland, and you're going to go down the rabbit hole because there is no out other than going straight down. So think of that now in your brain. Those worries and those fears, if they're a thinking habit that you've developed, and I imagine they are, just like everybody else, me included, we've got to not get on the path and let it build up those pieces of grass, cover it back up so that your brain doesn't want to go down that path anymore. Now, this takes consistent effort. Every single time you're going to start to worry about anything and be fearful of something that isn't real, just a mild something, you can't go down that path. And you say to yourself, no, I'm not going to go down that path. And you stay off of it. Now, if you do that enough, you won't be tempted to get back on that path. Well, once in a while you will, but not very often. Now, you have to do it every single day without fail. Every single time you can't get on that path. And then your brain will look for the new pathway that you're building. So I really want you to try this because those fears and worries occupy so much of our precious time. And we only have so much time left in life. We don't want to waste the moments on things that aren't real, that are distracting us, because there may be things in your life that you have thought you were afraid of, but you really aren't, and they could be so fantastic. Or maybe you worry constantly about things, but they never happen. So you waste all that time being worked up, and you could have been enjoying. So I always like to stay in the moment, right? If you have to, use breathing. The moment you focus on your breathing, you're back in the real world at this moment. You can't think about the future or the past. You're right now. And remember, the future is not yet, and you can't predict what it will be. And the past, you don't really remember it accurately. It's kind of like you either have rose-colored glasses or you have a dim view of what happened. And neither are true. So neither are accurate. So why waste your time on it, right? Don't worry about the future. Don't overthink the past. Don't hash it out again. You already experienced it. Let it go. Let's be now, right? And let's be in the moment so that we can do the things that will bring us joy, bring us happiness, right? So I want you to live your life to the fullest. That's my goal. And that's what I want for you. So I hope you'll give it a try and you'll reach out to me and let me know how it's going. And then furthermore, would you please help me by subscribing and then also liking and maybe sending it to on your social media, that we can help people with the course, which will help them really understand what they're doing and how they're doing it in their brain, which will make it better for them. All right, so I hope you have a fabulous week, and I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.